A title appears, Changing the Way We Talk About Sexual Assault. A logo, NSVRC, National Sexual Violence Resource Center. A graphic appears, Liliana Olvera, Project Coordinator, California Coalition Against Sexual Assault, California.
What drives me to do this work is really for folks that so often are not believed, so often are not heard. And I think of my very first accompaniment, and I think of that 3-year-old little girl who was assaulted by her grandfather. And I remember her face, I remember her looking at me and saying to her mother and I, "It's gonna be okay, I'll be okay." That strength that this 3-year-old had changed me forever. We cannot forget about our survivors. We cannot say that we want to eradicate sexual violence and not look at every member of the community. We have to have holistic approaches. We have to make sure that we reach out to all community members. And so I really envision a world free from sexual violence. And so that 3-year-old girl is what moves me to continue this work, that there is healing and there is hope, and we're gonna be able to help them through that process.
Annika Leonard, Founding Director, Priceless Insight, Wisconsin.
Our voices are powerful, our experiences are powerful, our experiences do not define us. And because our experiences do not define us, that means that we have more to contribute, and so my passion around this is making sure that other folks know that they have more to contribute, that this was an experience, that there's life after this experience, but while you're in this experience, this process, there are folks who are advocating for these systems to make sure that when you do experience this, that you are treated with dignity, that you are treated with care, with concern, just as if this were their family member on the table or being interviewed on the stand or being interviewed by law enforcement. We need to make sure that we are treating folks with dignity, and I have to say that word over and over again, dignity and humanity.
Kristen Sakura, Executive Director, Sexual Violence Center, Minnesota.
I am an advocate. I come from the world of advocacy. And part of the philosophy of my work is that I unconditionally believe what victims and survivors tell me to be true. My experience tells me that I should. The research on the myth of false reporting of rape tells me that I should. I believe them. I get to be completely open-minded and open-hearted with the person who sits in front of me. I get to believe them and then walk with them on their journey of healing after sexual violence has come into their lives. But what's complicated is that the other people who sit at the table with me in systems change work have different perspectives, and especially for folks who maybe come from law enforcement or prosecution. From their perspective, they say, look, we have to investigate whether a crime occurred. We can't start by believing this person. We have to start by suggesting that everything's on the table. Could be true, might not be true. And so what I say in response is just start by believing it could be true.
Sarah Deer, Professor of Law, University of Kansas, Kansas.
There's a lot of people who think that working with sexual assault must be incredibly depressing and traumatizing. And I don't want to in any way minimize that as part of the work that we do. But in my experience, working with survivors of sexual assault can actually be incredibly inspiring, right? You're having the honor of being part of someone's life, perhaps on the worst day of their life. And to be invited into that intimate sort of experience is an honor. And then from there on out, you might be able to be part of that person's life as they rebuild it and enjoy their life again and laugh and have exciting things happen. And you're invited to be part of that and to be a partner in that. And for that reason, I find the work to be not depressing, but actually very inspiring and very fulfilling.
A quote appears, Our experiences do not define us. Annika Leonard. Find out more at www.nsvrc.org/SART Toolkit. Special thanks to Liliana Olvera, Annika Leonard, Kristen Sakura, and Sarah Deer. Copyright National Sexual Violence Resource Center 2018. All rights reserved. This video was produced by Dash and Thompson under grant number 2015 VF-GX K003, awarded by the Office for Victims of Crime, Office of Justice Programs, U.S. Department of Justice. The opinions, findings, and conclusions or recommendations expressed in this video are those of the contributors and do not necessarily represent the official position or policies of the U.S. Department of Justice.